You're listening to the Storied Coaching Podcast with Aaron J. Jacobs, episode number 95. This week, we're going to talk about actionable steps you can take to start activating your network of dudes. Forward.
What if you could rewrite your current story? How would you spend your time? What would your career or business look like? What kind of life would you design? Welcome to Storied Coaching, the podcast for high-performing leaders that provides you with tools and insights for building a thriving business that fuels an amazing life on your terms. I'm Aaron J. Jacobs, and as a master coach and the CEO of OMH Creative and Storied Coaching, I've had the privilege and opportunity to learn what it takes to rewrite your story. It's never too late for a rewrite.
Welcome this week, heroes. I just got back from the best trip. I had the distinct pleasure of going and meeting a friend of mine. And this is the fourth trip that I've gotten to do this year. And it's been very purposeful. Getting to go visit a friend in another state, in my case, this last one, where I get to go and spend time with someone that is a good friend and a colleague and someone that I deeply respect. And it is such a recharge to be able to go and connect with other men that are around my same age, that know some of the same things that I go through, that I have things in common with them, whether it's business, whether it's friendship, whether it's also having kids, being a father, being a provider, that have a common experience that they share with me and that I share with them. And we're able to keep in contact with each other virtually and through, hopefully, with this person in particular, we get together probably once a month and talk over Zoom or FaceTime or whatever we can. We carve out some time when both of us are running businesses, both of us have family obligations, but we try to carve out some time each month to talk to each other. And as we wrap up this year's Men's Mental Health Month, I thought, what a perfect thing to talk about. Especially last week when I talked about in episode 94 about what's going on with men's mental health and all the things that are adding up to us feeling more isolated and more alone, more depression, more anxiety, more mental health things going on, suicide rates at all-time highs. What is something actionable and tangible other than what I gave you last week that you could start doing? Or as an example, something that I'm doing from my life in order to make sure that I am creating and maintaining a group of men that I can talk to when I'm having trouble and that know that they can always reach out to me and talk to me. And it takes effort. This is something that guys have to adjust from. We're used to it being easy when we're kids, right? It's as easy as you're riding bikes in your neighborhood, at least for me in the 80s, and you saw another kid that was skateboarding or riding a bike too, or he went over a jump on a ramp and you were like, that was awesome. And he's like, thanks, I like your bike. And then you hang out all afternoon, and then before you know it, you're best friends. We don't so much get to see kids on the street going over ramps and get to hang out with them all day anymore. It just seems so effortless and easy when you're a kid, right? Do you remember how easy it was? And once you get into your 40s, like I am now, those opportunities with all the other responsibilities and things going on in our lives, they make it so that we have to put in a lot more effort if we want to maintain a healthy group of men that share a common experience with us that we can talk to and that know that they can reach out to us. It takes effort. And I'm ashamed to admit that I was doing a really shitty job of this until just a few years ago. Because of the pandemic, I think I realized acutely just how alone I could be. Not only when we were locked down in our houses, but because of the fact that I wasn't able to think of a close circle of male friends other than I had one or two that I could reach out to. But I realized even those couple, I had done a bad job of checking in with them regularly, of just reaching out and asking how they were doing, how they were feeling, and for scheduling time when I actually went and visited them. Because what happens, guys, as we get older and we get new jobs and we travel and we do all this stuff, we end up scattering to the wind a bit, especially after college. Those of us that went to college, that was probably the last time that you lived directly close to a significant portion of your friends where you could walk to them or drive to them in a very short distance. After that, we're off getting our first jobs, our apartments, we're scattering to the wind. And that's where it starts, where we see that scattering all over. And at first, we think that we're going to overcome it. And for a while, we do. And some of you, I'm sure, make a much better effort than I was doing. I am not a unique case, though. I know that there's a lot of guys that fall into the same kind of just a little bit at a time of attrition of those friend groups just falling by the wayside, one person at a time. And maybe we hopefully get together like once a year, something like that. Some guys do that as well, but usually that's centered around drinking as well. And I don't mean to bag on guys going out and having a good night at the bar. That's great. But also there's other aspects of relationships besides going out and getting blasted, especially because it makes you feel like crap the next day. I wanted to do a better job of going ahead and farming, if you will, watering, fertilizing, making sure that I was doing a good job as a friend so that I felt like I could reach out to these men when I might need something as well. And I thought that it was going to be a lot harder than it was. Like a lot of things in life, I probably overthought it. I thought, okay, I'm going to need to send them cards and remember birthdays and do all these things. And you know what? That's not really what has happened. I do send texts on birthdays. I do try to make sure that for significant events that I know that are happening in my close guys' lives, that I check in with them. But what's been really useful for me, and I would like to offer you as well, is just breaking it down like I plan out things for my business. And that is once a quarter, I am going, in my case, I'm traveling to them. I decided that, hey, I'm going to be the glue. I'm going to travel to my friends. And a lot of them are reciprocating by actually spending time and planning to come and spend time with us as well, especially now that we have the new apartment built out and we have a proper place that people can come and stay and have their own space, which makes it a lot easier, to be honest. But I wanted to, once a quarter, once every 3 months at least, be going on a trip just for 2 or 3 days. We're talking 72 hours, sometimes less in some cases, to go visit one of these friends, to make sure that we're maintaining that relationship, really having those deeper conversations that the occasional text and the occasional phone call don't allow us to get into because we're being pulled in so many directions with kids and with spouses and with all that kind of stuff. And I have to tell you, it has made a huge difference in my life. And I'd like to think that it's making a difference in their lives as well. That they know that this small group of men, that they know that if something is going on, whether they need to celebrate and share something with someone that they know that will be so excited to celebrate with them and not feel competitive, but really cheer them on, that I'm the person they reach out to for that. And conversely, if they have something that just feels overwhelming and that they feel like maybe they can't share with their partner, or they have shared with their partner, but they need a different perspective from a male, someone that understands what they're going through, that I'm that person for them as well. And that we know that is a two-way street for us at all times. But I think that specifically planning for me to be able to go and spend time that's more than just that hour or more than just that text message has made a huge difference in my mental health. It also, I would offer, is something to look forward to. As we plan out things for our families, if we're lucky enough to be able to go on a family vacation once or several times a year in some cases, like we're able to do, I know we're really lucky to be able to do that. But it's different to be able to go and have a relationship and spend time just with another guy and really be able to have those deeper conversations about life and about what's going on. To be able to share that joy, do activities together, share your hobbies with each other and the passions that you have with the other person, that your interests, the things that you're into, that you have someone that you know is interested in learning about the things that you're excited about. It means a lot. It means a lot to be able to share that with another guy. And it's really meant a lot to me over this last 2 years that I've been doing it. Like a lot of things, the reason that I did this was at the prompting, not just of myself and the loneliness that I was feeling, but also my wife, Jenny, who I've mentioned before in this podcast many times. She's really good at this. We jokingly refer to her as the glue in most of our common relationships that we have with friends and family. She's amazing at planning things out and thinking ahead about planning things that we're going to enjoy to do as a family, or even for her, she took it upon herself to make it more of a priority in the last several years to start planning things with women in her life that she wanted to make sure she was maintaining friendships with. And so she really encouraged me to start doing the same because she wanted me to be able to have this experience as well and keep our own relationship very versatile and happy because of the fact that we were making ourselves happy individually and with our own unique friendships, as well as helping to be happy in our own relationship. Because when we are happy and we make ourselves happy and we bring that energy to the relationship, it makes the relationship that much better. So several different aspects of this, kind of like circles within circles of mental health. But men, I have to tell you, after this experiment of doing this for 2 years, of making it so that basically 4 trips a year, I think the first year I only did 3, but this year I've done 4 in this last cycle, that has made all the difference. I talked about looking forward to something, and it really is something that I look forward to. Think of it a little bit. I would compare it, if you haven't done something like this already, compare it to the way you felt as a kid. And if you're like me, guys don't really, what's that saying that I've heard lately? Guys don't grow up, we just get older. So a lot of you are probably like me, you're a kid at heart as well. And even if you have your own kids now, you start to get excited a month or weeks at least before Christmas happens, or before your kid's birthday happens, because you're excited about the stuff you have planned for them or the stuff that's going to happen at Christmas, and think about them opening their presents or getting to go on that trip. And this is much like that. It's the anticipation of the thing. When I know one of these trips to go visit one of my guys is coming up, it makes me happy and look forward to it and be positive about all the other things that I might have to get done up until the point where I have the freedom to go and spend those several days of distraction free with them. Even if I have to check a little bit of email or whatever, but I get very excited about the fact that's coming up. It's something to look forward to. And if you are in that daily grind, whether you're working for yourself as an entrepreneur, whether you're working for other people, you know how valuable it is to have something to look forward to that's drawing you in a positive way towards something you're looking forward to. It really helps with your mental health. And like I said, it strengthens those relationships. So this is what I wanted to offer you today. Maybe you can think of something. Maybe you want to do this exactly as I'm talking about it. Maybe you want to go ahead and open up the calendar and go, hey, I can't do that this quarter, but if I plan for, let's say 4 months from now, I'm going to take my first trip. I'm going to reach out to that guy, that friendship, that guy, that my buddy from college, that person that I really liked from high school, an acquaintance maybe that you made. In the case of the person that I just visited, I actually met this person when I was at a coaching conference. I was speaking from the stage, and afterwards I saw him across the room, and he just looked like a kind of guy that I would get along with. Kind of had tattoos as well, looked like a really cool guy. He's also like 6'3", so it's pretty easy to pick him out in a room. But we established a relationship there. It just took a quick conversation. And I was like, we should stay in contact with each other. We traded information, and it went from there. We had some of those, I would call them dates. We had some dates over FaceTime. 2 dudes talking about, I would let him know a little bit about me and the hobbies that I was into. And he told me about the things that he was into. And it was really cool to get to know him that way. And then we made time, purposeful time, to go and hang out and spend time together. You can make new friendships in your 40s, I guess is the news flash that I'm coming at you with. It takes a little more effort because we're not riding our BMX bikes around and going off cool jumps and skateboarding around with our friends and seeing kids from the neighborhood and making those easy connections like it felt like when we were kids. But it is something that you can do now. You can look for new men to add to your circle, and you can be the first one to initiate and reach out. It's okay if it feels a little weird and a little anxious. Hey, that's what you got to do in order to make new friends, right? And for those friends that are old friends that you treasure right now, and maybe you've lost a little bit of contact with, send them a text this week. Reach out, say, hey, how are you feeling? What's going on? Warm that relationship back up, and maybe see if they might be available to get together 4 months from now. Something that's doable for both of you. Maybe you meet in the middle if they live far away. Meet somewhere common for 2 or 3 days, or have them out, or you go visit them. It is absolutely worth it. You don't even have to think of something really cool to do where you're going to some resort or something like that. The last couple ones that I've done have just been me going and visiting a friend. And I specifically told the trip before this one that I just took with my friend Steve, I told him specifically, I know that you're really busy right now. He's got a really busy schedule, all kinds of things going on, travels a lot as well. Hey, are you going to be home during this window? He was like, yes. I was like, great. Don't change any of your routine. I'll go where you go. And we just hung out. I had dinner with his family. We did some of our workouts together. I shadowed him when he had to go do some work stuff. And we had car conversations. And we caught up on what was going on with each other's families in the car and while we were dropping his kids off for their CrossFit classes. And we just spent time together, talking and walking and getting coffees. And it made all the difference. I hope that it meant as much to him, but I know it meant so much to me and my mental health. And I really want to encourage you to start to make some of these steps as well, because it really helps. Men, let's take the extra effort. Let's take the extra steps to not be one of these statistics. One of these men that when people reach out to them and ask them if they have men they feel like that are in their life that they can reach out to and that they can feel a part of, let's not be one of those statistics that doesn't feel like that haven't put in the effort for it. And that all of a sudden, when they're in midlife, feel like they're alone other than their partner. If they're lucky, they have a partner, but guess what? Your partner can't fill all of those roles for you. You need to have some of your own relationships. It will strengthen your relationships in your marriage if you're married, or your partnerships, or if you're dating. It strengthens and enriches you to have strong relationships and strong ties with other men in different areas outside of your relationship. So that's what I wanted to share with you this week, my friends. Something specific, something tangible that you could start to look at and start to do so that you can not be one of these statistics that talks about how they don't have somebody to reach out to and that has a higher propensity for depression, for anxiety, and for feeling a deep sense of non-connection as they walk through life. Because the connections that we have with each other, that's what makes life worth living, right? That you feel like you're a part of something. That's when it's really hard for that depression to take root, because you have people to reach out to. You have a network of people that care about you and that you care about, so that when you do go low, you don't go too low before you're able to reach out for help. So I'm going to leave you with that this week, my friends. Warm up some of those relationships. See if you can get a few people to go ahead and get together with you. It can be so mundane. Just ride in the car with them, get coffees, hang out, have conversations about what's going on with them in their life, have conversations about what's going on in yours, share the common experiences. That's the stuff that matters. That's the stuff that will make you feel connected and alive. All right, my friends, have a fantastic week. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to Storied Coaching with Aaron J. Jacobs. If you want more information or resources from the podcast, visit us at storiedcoaching.com.